Hello everyone, welcome to today's session on coordinate geometry. So in coordinate geometry, today we will look at section formula. So earlier we looked at what is distance formula. Now let's focus on what is section formula. So section means, let's say I have a line AB. Okay, I have a line AB. If this line I want to divide into two parts, let's say at this point, let's say this is P. Then AP is one section and PB is another section. So basically, what is section formula is, the section formula is a point which divides the line AB into two parts. Okay, so here, how to find that? We will see. Okay, let's say I have, let's look into a coordinate plane now. Okay, let's say this is the origin, and this is y-axis, and this is x-axis, and I have 2 points. Let's take the previous case, that is A is 2, 2, and I also have point B, that is 5, 5, for example, right? This is line AB. Now I have a point somewhere here, okay, somewhere P, which is dividing this line in the ratio 1 is to 2. That means AP is one portion and PB is two portions, right? So that point P is in such a way that it is dividing the line into two parts. The first part is, let's say 1. The second part is 2 times to that. Okay. Now, how to find point P, right? Which is at a distance 1, I mean, in a ratio of 1 is to 2. So here it is same like how we found the distance. Let's project the points onto x and y axis. Okay, x and y axis. So this point P, and say this is point B. Now this is, let's say the point P is x comma y, which we don't know. And if we project this will touch here. Let's say this is AB, and let's say this is C, and let's say this is D. Okay. Now, if I look at here, PAD is one triangle and BPC is another triangle. Both are like right angle triangles, and also these are similar triangles. Okay. So from this, what I can say is delta PAD is a similar triangle to delta BPC. So this triangle and this triangle are equilateral triangles. Now, in equilateral triangles, the respective sides, the ratio of the respective sides are equal, right? So I can say PA by PB. So this side by this side equal to AD by PC, right? This base by this base should be equal to these opposite sides, PD by BC. Now, just to substitute these values. So what is PA? PA by PB we know, which is 1 by 2. That equal to what is AD? AD, this distance we need to know, this distance. So this distance is 2 units, which we know, and this distance is x units. So can I say these as x minus 2, right? So AD equal to OD minus OA, right? So let's write this here. AD equal to OD, which is x units, minus OA, that is 2 units. So x minus 2. And similarly, what is PC? So PC is nothing but OC minus, right? PC is nothing but OC. C is nothing but P here actually. So OC minus OP. So what is OP? Sorry, wait here guys. So OD is nothing but OP. Yeah. So OC is what? OB, which is 5 minus OP or OD is X. So 5 minus X. So I can say like AD is X minus 2 by 5 minus X. That equal to what is PD? PD, this distance here. So this is like 0 comma 2. This is like 0 comma Y. And this is like 5 comma 5. So can I say this is Y minus 2? And this distance is 5 minus Y. So similarly, if I write what is this PD equal to OP minus OA. OP is X, sorry, Y minus 2. So can I write here Y minus 2 by 5 minus Y? What is 5 minus Y? That is BC. So this distance BC equal to this distance, that is OB minus OP. OB minus OP. So OB is 5 minus OP is Y. So 5 minus Y. So that's what I have equated here. Now let's take it here. So what this becomes now, I need to equate each. So X minus 2 by 5 minus X equal to 1 by 2. That means X minus 2 becomes uh, 5 minus X. Yeah, this is 2 times. So I'm cross multiplying, right? If I cross multiply, so this 2 goes to the other side. So 2 into X minus 2. So that is the 2X minus 4 is 5 minus X. Let's arrange the X terms to one side. So then 2X plus X becomes 5 plus 4. That means 3X is 9. Then I can say X is 3. So I got the value of X. Now, what is this? Y minus 2 by 5 minus Y equal to 1 by 2. Now, let's do cross multiply, right? So if you cross multiply, this becomes 2 into Y minus 2 equal to 5 minus Y. That means 2Y minus 4 equal to 5 minus Y. Then 3Y becomes 9. Then Y also becomes 3. So that means the point X comma Y, the point P, which is X comma Y, that is 3 comma 3. You understood? So we can find the point P which divides the line into two parts using this method. So this method of finding that point P is called section, because the P is dividing the line into two sections. So this is for a single point. We have 2 points, so we found 1 point. We assume this as X comma Y and we found that. So what if is a generic point? Okay, let's say for any points A comma B. Here I know the points A is 2 comma 2 and B is 5 comma 5. What if I have a point X1 Y1 and X2 Y2 and P is X and Y, and how it is dividing? Let's say the ratio is M1 and M2. Then we will get to the section formula. So let's see here. So let's say I have, let's draw the coordinate plane, right? And I have point A here, that is X1, Y1. And then I also have point B here, that is X2, Y2. So earlier we just used 1 point, but now we are doing with, and I have a point P which is X comma Y. So here all the points are unknown. We are trying to get to a generic formula for a section, right, to find the point P. Now let's say AP is M1 and PB is M2. There it was 1:2, right? In earlier case it was 1:2. Now we are assuming that as M1 and M2. Means PA by PB is M1 by M2. Now the way that we have solved the point P before, let's just project the points onto X and Y axis, right? Then these points become X1 comma 0. This is X comma 0. This is X2 comma 0. Then Yeah, if I project this, so that's A, B, P. Let's say this is yeah, yeah. Let's say this is touching at C and this is touching at D. Then I can say from this delta PAD is similar to delta BPC. So these two triangles are similar triangles now. Now, what is the property of similar triangle? The ratio of the corresponding sides is equal. So I can say this hypotenuse by this hypotenuse. What is the hypotenuse here? PA by PB. So PA by PB is equal to the opposite sides and the adjacent sides, the ratio of opposite sides and adjacent side. Let's take the adjacent sides first. So here AD, here PC. So AD by PC equal to opposite sides now. PD by BC. PD by BC. Now, what are these sides? AD. So what is AD? AD is nothing but, right? AD means this distance. So if I want this distance, what I can do is this total distance is x, and this distance is x1. So x minus x1, I'll get this distance. So can I say OP minus OA? That is AD distance. That is x minus x1. Then what is PC? PC is this distance. So I can say OB, which is this distance, minus OP. This is this distance. So that means x2 minus x, right? Now, let's find these values also. PD and BC. Let's find PD. I'm trying to use best use of the place, available place here. So PD is this distance. So what is this? 0, comma y1, and this is 0 comma y, and this is 0 comma y2. Now if I need this distance, so y minus y1, right? So that means OP minus OA, that equal to y minus y1. And similarly, what is BC? BC means this distance, nothing but this distance. So this distance can be y2 minus y. So what is y2? OB. So OB minus OP, that is y2 minus y. Now let's substitute the values. What is PA by PB? PA by PB equal to M1 by M2, that equal to what is AD? X minus X1 by X2 minus X. Hope you guys are following, right? Then PD by BC. PD by BC is y minus y1 by y2 minus y. Now, as we did in earlier problem, just equate the x terms to m1 by m2 once, and then y terms to m1 by m2 once. Then you will get what is x and what is y. Okay. Now, can I say m1 by m2 equal to x minus x1 by x2 minus x? Now, cross multiply, right? So if you cross multiply, this becomes m1 into x2 minus x equal to m2 into x minus x1. Then if I expand, m1 x2 minus m1x equal to m2x minus m2 x1. Now let's take the x term to one side. So if I take all the x terms to one side and the others, then I can say m1 x2 plus m2 x1. This minus m2 x1 I send to the other side. Now this minus m1x I'm sending to this side. So plus m1x plus m2x. So if I rewrite this, can I say x equal to, hold on guys, x equal to m1 x2 plus m2 x1 by m1 plus m2. That is our x coordinate of point P. So the formula is m1 x2 plus m2 x1 by m1 plus m2 by just equating that. Now similarly, I need to equate m1 by m2 with y coordinates. m1 by m2 becomes, this is to find the y coordinate. by y2 minus y. If I cross multiply, what will happen is this m1 into y2 minus y becomes m2 into y minus y1. Now, let's expand like the how we did for finding the x coordinate. So this becomes m1 y2 minus m1y equal to, right? So this is m2y minus m2y1. Now let's send the y terms and the y1, y2 terms to other side. So what this becomes is m1 y2 plus m2 y1 becomes m1y plus m2y. That means, can I write y as m1 y2 plus m2 y1 by m1 plus m2? You followed, right? So now we got the points x comma y by using the section formula. This is the section formula. The point P is x comma y, where x is m1 x2 plus m2 x1 by m1 plus m2, and y is m1 y2. So when m is coming as 1, y is coming as the next one, m1 y2 plus m2 y1 by m1 plus m2. So this point, the finding the point which divides the line AB in the ratio m1 is to m2 is section formula. So what is that point P is x comma y, where x can be found using, if we know m1 m2, x1 y1 and x2 y2, we can find x and y using this formula. Understood? Now let's do a couple of problems, then you will understand. Yeah, before we get into the problems, right? So let's understand what is a midpoint now, right? So let's say I have a line AB, A and B, whose points are x1, y1, right? And B is x2, comma, y2. And there is a point P, x, comma, y, which is a midpoint. What is midpoint means that divides the both lines in the same ratio, right? So this can be 1 is to 1. Both distances are equal, right? So can I say if it is midpoint, AP by PB should be 1, right? That means AP is equal to PB. So that means our M1 by M2 is 1 in our section formula. So when M1 and M2 are 1, right, then you just substitute the section formula. The what is section formula? P is x comma y. Then what is x? M1 x2 plus M2 x1 by M1 plus M2. That's one thing. And then M1 y2 plus M2 y1 by M1 plus M2. You following? Now I know what is M1 and M2. It is midpoint, so 1, 1. So substitute those values. So M1 is 1. That means x2 plus x1 by 1 plus 1, comma, y2 plus y1 by 1 plus 1. If I substitute M1 and M2 as 1 and 1, then, so what is this? So can I write this as x1 plus x2 by 2, comma, y1 plus y2 by 2? I can write, right? So that's the midpoint formula. The midpoint formula for uh, AB, where A is x1, y1 and B is x2, y2 is, it divides the line in the 1:1 ratio. If we substitute that in the section formula, we can get the midpoint as x1 plus x2 by 2, comma, y1 plus y2 by 2. That means the sum of the x coordinates of both the points by 2, comma, sum of the y coordinates by 2, that you will get the midpoint. So far what we learned about the section formula and then how to get the midpoint. The only thumb rule for getting the midpoint is the ratio the line, the point P divides the line AB in equal ratio, that is 1:1. So if you substitute 1:1, you can find the midpoint, that is x1 plus x2 by 2, comma y1 plus y2 by 2. So let's look at a few examples, like what type of problems that we get on the section formula. Right. So find the ratio in which the line segment joining the points -3 comma 10 and 6 comma -8 is divided by -1 comma 6. So basically here AB is given and also P is given. We need to find the ratio M1 and M2 we need to find. Understood? So let's always draw a diagram, then it will become easy for us to represent. So what is A? A is -3 comma 10. That is our x1 and y1. And then what is B? B is 6 comma -8, which is our x2 and y2. And now the point P somewhere, we don't know where it is. So that point P, which is -1 comma 6, which is our x comma y. We need to find what ratio that the point P divides the line AB. Okay. So when we have 2 points and the point which divides the line, then it is, we need to get an idea that we need to use section formula. So generally, what is P of x comma y using section formula? So m1 x2 plus m2 x1 by m1 plus m2, comma m1 y2 plus m2 y1 by m1 plus m2. This is the section formula. So here we don't know m1 and m2. So let's keep m1, m2 as is and then substitute in the other points, right? So here, can I say x equal to this and y equal to that, and then I can find, right? So let's say what is P? P of what is x comma y -1 comma 6 equal to, let's substitute the values. What is m1? We don't know. So let's keep m1 as is. What is x2? x2 is 6. So m1 into 6 plus m2 we don't know. And then what is x1? -3. Signs are important, guys. Okay. Then m1 and m2 we don't know. So let's keep as is. And then m1, what is y2 is -8. Right? m1 into -8 is -8 m1 plus m2 into what is y1 is 10 by m1 plus m2. Let's further simplify and then equate, right? So then P is -1 comma 6. That should be 6m1 minus 3m2 by m1 plus m2, comma -8m1. Hope you guys are following, right? By m1 plus m2. Now, can I say this x coordinate -1 is this value, right? 6m1 minus 3m2 by m1 plus m2. And this 6 should be 8 minus 8m1 plus 10m2 by m1 plus m2. Right? Now, if you simplify, you'll get the answer. So let's multiply with -1 here. So this becomes -m1 minus m2 equal to 6m1 minus 3m2. Yeah, I think if you simplify one, you will get the answer. So I'm simplifying this one. We just need the ratio, right? So send all the m term m1 to one side and m2 to the other side. So here I am sending all the m1s to this side. That is that becomes -7m1 equal to -4 m2. That means m1 by m2 becomes -4 by -7. That means 4 by 7. So if you do this, you will get the same answer if you simplify this also. So our m1 is to m2 is nothing but 4 is to 7. That means this is 4 parts and this is 7 parts. Understood? So that's how we can find the ratios. Or if the ratio is given, then you can find point P by just substituting into the section formula. So what we did here, so 2 points are given, and then point P is also given, and they are asking us to find M1 and M2. So just to substitute in that formula and equate any one, x coordinate or y coordinate, and simplify, you will get the ratio. So, but remember, the minus signs are very key. If you somewhere, if you get minus signs wrong, then your entire problem will go wrong. The ratios you will get are will be incorrect. So here what I did, I just substituted x2 is 6m1 and x1 is minus 3. Yeah, I'm just validating one more time so that I have not done any mistake, right? So 6m1 minus 3m2 by m1 plus m2, that is minus 1. So minus m1 minus m2, 6m1 minus 3m2. So I'm sending this to the other side. So 7m1 and these two, oh, hold on guys. Yeah, this is wrong. See, the minus m2 and minus 3m2. If I send minus m2 to the other side, then this becomes plus m2, then this is minus 2m2. See, that's why we need to be very careful with the sides particularly. So this is, I thought this is minus 3 and minus 1, which is minus 4, but that's not the case. That is minus 3 plus m2. So this is 2. This is correct. This is 7. So it's basically minus 2 by minus 7, which is 2 by 7. So this is basically 2 is to 7. So m1 by m2 equal to 2 by 7. Okay. See, simply if we ignore the minus sign, we'll get it wrong. Okay. So be careful with substituting the minus values. Okay. Let's look at another example, right? So here, if the points A, B, C, and D are the vertices of a parallelogram taken in order, find the value of P. Okay, so here we need to know the property of parallelogram. What is parallelogram means? We will have the opposite sides as parallel. Is that true? Let's say this is a, yeah, I don't have this. Let's say this is a parallelogram. So what happens in parallelogram is the diagonals intersect. The lengths are not equal. If it is a square, I would straight away say I'll find the length AB, BC, CD, and AD. The four sides, length of four sides, because I know the distance formula, right? With distance formula, I could have find. And if all the sides I'll get equal, then I'll say this is a square. But in parallelogram, the sides are not equal. So A, B, C, D. Then what other principle we can apply is AC and BD are the diagonals of the parallelogram, and they intersect at the midpoint. The AC, the midpoint of AC and the midpoint of BD should be equal. So I will say like in parallelogram, midpoint of AC should be equal to midpoint of BD. Then what you can say, then you can find that value. So what is A here? A is 6 comma 1, and what is C? 9 comma 4, and what is B is 8 comma 2, and what is D? D is P comma 3. So that P we need to find. So then let's say these are x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3, and x4, y4. There are four coordinates, and I have given the notation set x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3, and x4. What is AC? AC is x1 and x3. So if it is a midpoint, so we know the formula of midpoint, right? Midpoint formula is sum of x coordinates by 2 and sum of y coordinates by 2. So that means the midpoint of this is, what is the midpoint of this? Let's write this. So x1 plus x3 by 2 comma y1 plus y3 by 2 should be equal to the midpoint of BD. What is midpoint of BD? X2 plus x4 by 2. You are following, right? y2 plus y4 by 2. The midpoint formula is the sum of the x coordinates by 2, comma, sum of the y coordinates by 2. In the section formula, if we substitute m1 and m2 as 1, we got that, right? So what is x1 and x3 here? 6 plus 9 by 2, comma, what is y1 and y3? 1 plus 4 by 2 should be equal to p plus 8 by 2, comma, 3 plus 2 by 2. So if I solve this, 6 plus 9 is, so 15 by 2, comma, 5 by 2 should be equal to p, I don't know, so let's keep as is, and this is 5 by 2. So if you see here, the y coordinate I already got as same. Now, can I equate p plus 8 by 2 should be 15 by 2, right? As the x and y coordinates should be same. So therefore, I can say 15 by 2 is nothing but p plus 8 by 2. So if I equate, then 15 is p plus 8. 2 I can cut it. And then p becomes 15 minus 8. So what is p? 15 minus 8 means 7. So if you substitute 7, 7 plus 8 is 15 by 2, right? So these type of problems can be asked. Okay. So here it is very simple that you need to know the properties of the shapes. If it is a square, what happens? All the sides are equal and also diagonals are equal. So if 4 points are given and ask you that whether these points form a square, then what you need to do? Find the distance of all the sides and also the diagonals. If the sides distance, 4 sides gets the same distance, and AC and BD lengths are equal, then you can say this is a square. Understood? If it is a rectangle, then the opposite side lengths should be equal and the diagonals length should be equal. And if it is a parallelogram, the lengths are not equal in a parallelogram, so the midpoint of the diagonals should be equal, AC and BD. So that's the property of parallelogram, where the midpoint of both the diagonals intersect at the same point. That is, the midpoint of AC is equal to midpoint of BD. Using that property, we have solved this problem. Understood? So this is a combination of your shapes knowledge as well as the section formula, and here it is midpoint formula. Okay, the application of knowledge. These type of problems are important because you need to know both the concepts of the shapes as well as how to apply what you have learned in the section formula and also midpoint formula. So these type of application of knowledge where you have to apply the knowledge, those type of questions can be asked in the board exam. Okay, now let's look at another type of problem which is very important. Okay, so I would say this is very important. Find the coordinates of the points of trisection. Okay, I'll tell you what is trisection. He has given, that is, points dividing in 3 equal parts of the line segment joining the points. Okay, so I have a line AB. I have 2 points AB, and what is point of trisection? Trisection means points dividing in 3 equal parts. So if this line is cut into 3 equal parts, so I need 2 points. That means AP equal to PQ equal to QB. So point of trisection means we need 2 points that divide our line segment AB into 3 equal parts. Can I say this is 1 part, this is 2, and this is 3? So 3 equal parts. So that means AP equal to PQ equal to QB. And now how to find those points? That means, can I say these ratios are equal? AP, PQ, and QB are equal. If I want to find point P, can I say AP and this PB divide in the ratio 1:2? Can I say that? Because this is 1 part and this is the remaining 2 parts. So if I want to find the point P, our M1 and M2 should be 1:2. If I want to find point Q, Then our M1, uh, M1 by M2 becomes 2 by 1. That means 2 is to 1 because AQ is 2 portions and this is 1 portion. So 2 is to 1. You following? So point of trisection means the ratio is not given. It is self-understood because the trisection points divide the line into 3 equal parts. So if I want to find the first point P, I need to take a M1 is to M2 ratio as 1 is to 2. And if I want to find the other point, which is Q, then 2 is to 1. So the point of trisection. So P can be obtained. P of x comma y can be obtained by using your M1 is to M2 as 1 is to 2. And if you want to find Q1, then take as 2 is to 1. All right. So now I'll find x comma y. Let's say what is our a? A is 2 comma minus 2, and what is b? Minus 7 comma 4. Let's take this as x1 y1, and this is x2 and y2. So what is our section formula? Our section formula is m1 x2 plus m2 x1 by m1 plus m2. Guys, hope you remember the formula, right? M1 Y2 plus M2 Y1 by M1 plus M2. Here the hint is when you get M1, you'll get excess 2. When you get MS2, you'll get excess 1. Okay? All right. So what is M1 here? 1. M2 is 2. Let's substitute like that. So M1 is 1. So 1 into what is X2? Minus 7. So 1 into minus 7. Again, I am telling you the signs are very important. So be careful. So M2 is 2 into what is X1? X1 is 2. Then M1 and M2 is 1 plus 2. And then 1 into Y2. Y2 is 4. So 1 into 4 plus what is M2 is 2 into what is Y1 is minus 2 by M1 plus M2. Now, so 1 into minus 7 is minus 7 plus 2 into 2 is 4 by 3, comma 1 into 4 is 4. 2 into minus 2 is minus 4. So 4 minus 4 by 3. That means minus 7 plus 4 is minus 3. So minus 3 by 3, comma 0 by 3. That means this point P is minus 1, comma 0. So one of the trisection point which divides the line into 3 equal parts, that is minus 1, comma 0. Now let's find the second point, Q of x comma y. Here the m1 is to m2 you should take as 2 is to 1 because q divides the line into 2 parts. That is the first two you need to combine. That means 2 is to 1. Point of trisection means p you need to take 1 is to 2, the ratio m1 is to m2, and for q you should take 2 is to 1. Then you will get both p and q, which divides the line into 3 equal parts. That is nothing but trisection means. Right. Now here same formula, right? So hold on guys. So m1 x2 plus m2 x1 by m1 plus m2, comma m1 y2 plus m2 y1 by m1 plus m2. Now let's substitute the values. What is m1? M1 is 2 here. So 2 into what is x2? X2 is minus 7. Again, the plus and minus signs are very important here. So what is m2? M2 is 1. And what is x1? X1 is 2 by m1 plus m2 means 2 plus 1, comma 2 into what is y2? Y2 is 4. 2 into 4 plus m2 is 1. 1 into y1 is minus 2 by 2 plus 1, that is 3. Let's see this. 2 into minus 7 is minus 14 plus 2 by 3, comma 4 into 2 is 8. 1 into minus 2 is minus 2. So 8 minus 2 by 3. So what is the point here? Minus 14 plus 2 is minus 12 by 3, comma 8 minus 2 is 6 by 3. So minus 12 by 3 means minus 4, comma 6 by 3 means 2. So the other point is minus 4, comma 2. So the first point Q is minus 1, comma 0, and the second point Q is minus 4, comma 2. These 2 points divide the line segment AB into 3 equal parts. So this type of problem is very important. Here the ratio is not given, and you need to assume the ratio to while finding the points P and Q. While finding the point P, the ratio of M1 and M2 are 1:2. For finding a Q, M1:M2, you should take as 2:1. That is what the principle of trisection. The 2 points P and Q divide the line segment AB into 3 equal parts. That means P is in the ratio 1:2 and Q is in the ratio 2:1. So if you know that, you can find this using the section formula. So these type of problems can be asked in the board exams. Okay. All right, guys. I think that's all for today's session. I hope you understood the topic, and I'll see you next time. In case you have any questions or queries, you can reach me using my Urban Pro profile. Thank you.